Hello from Arizona. My name is Calvin and I welcome you to Tuff-Trails. This episode, what we're going to do is we're going to install springs off of a 4-door Suzuki Sidekick onto this 2-door Scout project that we're building. So let's get this episode going. Yeah! All right, guys, so in the last video, we upgraded this rear suspension, lifted up that fuel tank, and made a custom bumper out of a rock slider. So in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade the front suspension, and we're going to put extended travel struts on it, and we're going to put 4-door front springs on it. Clean it up a little bit, see what we got to deal with in here, okay? So that's what today's episode is going to be about, is upgrading the front suspension on this Scout build, okay? All right, cool. All right, guys, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this up in the air, and we're going to get it on jack stands, and we're going to pull these wheels and tires off of this and pull the shocks out and the springs out. And then we're going to take a pressure washer, clean everything up, and kind of put a little color in there, a little paint and stuff, and that's where we're going to start, okay? All right, cool. All right, so we got the wheel off, tire, and now we're going to take this strut off. And I just want you to notice here, see, because this has a 2-inch budget suspension lift on it, a puck system on it, we had to use a camber bolt to get that camber correct. So this is actually a camber bolt right here that we're going to take off too. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Whenever you do a 2-inch puck lift, it's a good idea to get you a camber bolt so you can adjust that camber a little bit, or your tires are going to wear unevenly. And if you have big tires, you're just going to have a hell of a time taking it down the pavement, down the road. It's just going to grab that road and go where it wants to go. So, okay, so anyhow, we're going to remove this strut. All right, cool. Okay, just a little tip for you guys. You know, don't start fighting with these bolts trying to get them out of here. That when you get this up and you get ready to take these struts off, they're still under a lot of pressure, okay? So even though you may have loosened the nuts off of them, they're going to be jammed and pretty tight in there. You're going to have to tap them out. So all you need to do is take you a jack and relieve a little bit of pressure off that strut. I mean, really, it's just like a couple cranks and that's it, okay? Just a little tip for you. Jack that strut up from the bottom a little bit, or that A-frame, and you'll be fine, okay? Okay, so let's get you caught up before I get too far. Okay, so we removed the strut from the top, okay? You can see it's got a lift on it. Spring's still there. The strut's gone, your knuckle's still here. The sway bar, disconnected the sway bar. See it right there. Here's your tie rod in from your steering rod. That's about to pop out. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take off this hub. This is a automatic hub, self-locking hub, or kind of a thing, and I don't like it. Or auto locking hubs. I don't like them, so I'm going to change those out. I got to take this off anyway because this axle is shit. All right, so I just ordered a set of brand new axles for the front, so we're going to put those in too. Okay, so let me get this off here next, and then I'll be able to get the rest of these parts off, and I'll catch you back up. Okay, but I just didn't want to get too far without you seeing it. So sway bar disconnected, tie rod in on your steering rod is off, and now we're about to pull this hub off right here. Okay, this automatic locking hub. All right, and then we're going to take off that axle on both sides. By the way, we're going to just pair brand new ones on both sides. Why mess around? We're this far. Let's just do it. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, guys. Now, after you get your hub off, what you're going to do is you're going to take your snap ring pliers, and see that snap ring? I already pulled it halfway off. Okay, it's already there. There's a little washer behind it that's going to come off with it too. So you're going to take that off. Okay, when you take that off, you can just slide this axle out. Okay, you can work it from the differential side or from the back here. Either way. Okay, now, so that's it. Pretty quick and pretty easy. It's just a little snap ring holds the axle in place. All right, cool. All right, this side's all taken apart and done. I'm going to pull that caliper though and get that out of the way because I want to clean this up a little bit. But I've been waiting for the weather to break a little bit to do the other side because my house sits in a northwest elevation. I'm sorry, a north-south elevation. So in the cooler part of the day in the morning, I'm beaten with heat so bad that I can't really get over to this side. So we're going to do this side today, but this is what I had to do, is I had to create this mess. All right, just give me some shade to work under. So those are the conditions that we're doing out here in Arizona right now. I think it's supposed to be another 115-degree day today, so we'll see what we can get done. But anyway, we're going to pull this side apart, take out that strut, take out that spring, and remove that CV joint, the CV axle. There we go, CV axle. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to remove a CV axle on the front of your GeoTracker, Suzuki Sidekick, or Vitara. Okay, all right, and we're going to do the left side. The right side's a lot easier. It just pulls out. The left side has some bolts in it, so we thought we'd show you that side. Okay, all right, cool. That's what we're going to do next. All right, so to get this started off, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove this caliper right here. Okay, we're going to remove this caliper. We're going to loosen our strut bolts, which you can see we already have done that. Okay, we're getting our brake lines out of the way, and then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this cotter pin and take this tie rod in loose, and then same here with your sway bar bushing right here. We're going to take that your little link right there. Okay, we're going to take that off as well. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Okay, and then once you get the caliper off, just kind of hang it out of the way somewhere. Okay, just get it out of the way somewhere. Okay, and that's going to give you a lot of access right here. You're going to need to release that because when you drop this, when you drop your strut and your coil, and you remove your tie rod end and your sway bar, this is going to want to drop. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, move your capsule nut and your cotter pin from your tie rod end, and then from your sway bar right here, disconnect it from the bottom. It's a 14 millimeter. Let me see if I can let you see up underneath there. You might see that. Okay, all right. And then our struts are loose right now. So what I'm going to do next is, while I have this up in a good position where I've got some good leverage on it, I'm going to take this automatic hub off. Okay, that's what we'll do next. Cool. Just a little tip: if you're having trouble getting these Allen nuts off of your hub right here, use a big screwdriver for leverage on this side. Okay, and then what you have is you have your Allen wrench in there, and then you can just take, you know, this guy right here and put them on there, and then you can pry one on each side. You know, put one hand on that screwdriver and one hand on this wrench right here, and it'll break it right loose. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, and then next you're going to need to get your pickle fork out, and you're going to need to be able to separate this joint right here, okay, for your tie rod end, and you're just going to pound that in with a hammer. It's going to pop loose and it'll fall down. Okay, all right. Just hard for me to hold the hammer and the phone and the camera and do all that, but I just want to show you that. Okay, you're going to need that. All right, I have seen people, they'll put the capsule nut back on it and they'll take a hammer and just beat the shit out of it. I don't recommend that, but I've seen it work. Okay, all right guys, there you go. Okay, and then next what you want to do is you want to get you a jack up under here. It doesn't have to be a floor jack. It could be a bottle jack or a scissor jack or something like that. But what's going to happen is, once you remove these bolts here, this top one is a camber bolt because it has a 2-inch suspension puck lift on it, one with budget lifts on it. Okay, absolutely nothing wrong with this, guys. All right, most people start with this. That's where they start at. Okay, anyway, this is a camber bolt because with the extra pressure on your lower control arm, it creates a camber issue, so you want to adjust it. You can get about almost 2 degrees of camber with these camber bolts. Okay, but anyway, you want to secure this up on a jack because once you pop these out, this is going to want to fall on you. Okay, so you want to be able to catch that. All right, so we're going to take and slowly, actually what I'm going to do before I pop these out the rest of the way is, while I have this secure right in front of me, I'm going to go ahead and remove this snap ring. See on your axle, you can see it right there. There's a snap ring right there. Let me see if I can get in there for you a little bit. There we go. Yeah, see right there? Snap ring. Okay, so we're going to remove that snap ring. All right, and that's really the only thing that's holding this in, by the way. Okay, snap ring, and there should be a washer behind it. Okay, that's what we're going to do next. All right, cool. Jack, hang on. Take off your snap ring first so you can get access to that, and then pop these out and then lower it down. And that's what that's going to do, is allow you to start back in here. In fact, I might actually loosen that first before I even go that far. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, so the snap ring is off right there. See it? There's your snap ring. It's off, no big deal. This right back here is 3 volts, is what this is. And They're 14 millimeter. You're going to need a wrench on the back and a wrench on the front to get them off, or impact or ratchet or whatever you want to use. And it's pretty simple. This rotates around real easy, so you can get the next position, okay, to get it, okay. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this camber bolt right here and this strut mount bolt right here off the bottom. This is all done. So this is basically just sitting in here. I could probably pull this off from the back right now, just the way it is, okay. In this position, it'll come right out of the back, okay. All right, cool. Okay, see, and then once you get this out of the way, okay, then this is all going to fall, okay. This is going to fall, and then you're going to be able to just work this back out, okay. And see, I worked out this way. I pulled it out from here, okay. And you could do the same. It's probably the same, okay. Now, if you're going to use your same struts and you're just changing an axle, or you're just changing, spring or something, or for some other reason you've got this dropped, and then you can leave this here. But for us, I'm going to put in, these are stock right here, and I need these ears because I'm going to cut that off, those ears off of that. And then we're going to pull this off, and we're going to put on a longer extended travel front strut off of the back end of a 93 Pontiac Grand Am, okay? And that's what we're going to do. And from this point on, we're also going to pull out this spring. This is a 2-door spring, and we're going to replace the spring with a 4-door spring, okay? We're going to keep the puck here, but we're not going to keep the puck up here. This puck is not going to stay here. That's got to go because these extended struts that we're going to use are way plenty long enough to give us all the travel that we need. Now, when I do that, when I put the Pontiac struts, the GM struts in here, and I put the 4-door springs back on, this is going to be pretty tight up in here. And what I'm creating for myself is a major camber issue because I'm going to have way too much pressure and force down on this lower control arm, okay? And that's going to cause it to want to pitch, and that's going to create a toe-in situation for my tires. So I'm going to have to get kind of creative to fix that and take that camber out, okay? We've done it before, but this is the first time I've used 4-door springs up front. So I don't know what additional pressure I'm going to get. I know we put them in the back, and in the back, just swapping the springs out got me 1.5 inches of lift. So in the back, I don't have camber issues, so much as I do up front here, okay? Up front here is kind of critical. You're just going to chew through tires, okay? So anyway, you're kind of updated. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this axle out. I'm going to go ahead and lower this jack the rest of the way down, and I'm going to pull that spring out, and I'm going to pull this strut off, okay? All right, cool. Okay, and as you see here, when you lower this down, because we disconnected everything, okay, off of it, it comes all the way down. And see, now your spring, it'll just come out. See, we can just pull that spring out. Okay, no spring compressor, nothing like that. We're going to leave this in. We're going to put the 4-door springs on, but we're going to leave this in. And that's going to give us, when I did the math, it's about 6.5 inches of lift. But again, I'm not sure what I'm going to have to do with this camber to make the camber work on it. Okay, all right, let me get this original strut out of there. All right, cool. Look at your tie rod bushings here. See if those are okay with you. If you need to change them, now's the time to change it. Check out your ball joint. If it's a problem wobbling or loose, this is the time to change it. Same here, time to change your sway bar bushing if you need to, okay? Go ahead and take a look at all those things and inspect it. This side is all done, and it's time for a pressure washer. And the same on this side. Everything's taken care of. Disassembled down as far as we're going to take it. Now we're going to hit it with a pressure washer, clean it up. We're going to throw some paint in there, clean it up, but we're going to inspect our bushings here for the sway bar, tie rod end, ball joints as well, okay? That's a good opportunity to do that. If you want to change those things, or you've had a wobbling in the front that you can't figure out, now's the time to fix that, okay? You're going to address those issues now. Cool. Okay, I wanted to do a side-by-side on these springs as well. The springs on the left are 4-door springs. That's a 4-door spring, and that's a 2-door spring. The height is almost identical. Again, there's about a 1/2 inch difference in height. But one of the things I noticed is I set these up exactly the same, the bottom coil where it ends at. But if you notice, the top coil here ends over here, and this one's got about, a good 2.5 inches more coil on it. So, and it looks a little tighter in here. So I'm pretty sure that these are going to be just like the back, and they're going to give us some lift, possibly another 1.5 inches up front. We're going to find out. So anyway, I just wanted to do a side-by-side so you can see those and what they look like, and so you can judge for yourself what you want to do. Okay? All right, cool. Okay, now what I'm doing now is I'm taking a soap. Use that Simple Green stuff because I can buy it in a gallon. It's pretty cheap. Does the job. And I'm gonna, all the areas that I'm gonna want to clean up that I plan on painting is gonna get sprayed. I'm gonna let it sit there for a little bit, soak up, and then we're gonna come back with a pressure washer and clean everything up. Okay? So that's what we're doing here. Yeah. Make sure everything gets a nice good coat. Let it set for a few minutes and then rock and roll. All right, cool. All right, guys. So what I wanted to do before I get these up in there, you can't really see it, is I wanted to be able to show you another side-by-side of the original struts out of the Sidekick. And these are the ones we're going to put in. These are GM Pontiac rear struts, actually, is what they are. But you can look and see how much thicker they are. They're way thicker than these. Okay, and you can see there's your full extension of the travel, about 20 inches on the stock ones, and you can see up there we're almost bumping 26 on the GM ones. Okay, so that's why we don't have to use that puck up on top, even though we have a 2-inch budget suspension lift or 2-inch puck on top of our coils. We don't need to use it on that one because we've got way more travel than we're going to need. Okay, so anyway, I just want to show you that right there. All right, cool. All right, so got her cleaned up, and we hit it with some primer and some of the areas that we really need the paint to stay good. We also took a SOS pad and went in there and scrubbed around a lot of this in here to get it to stick. Okay, you can see we've already started painting the front, but I wanted to stop and let you see what it looked like before the paint. Okay, all right, cool. And here, as you can see here, we're already starting to throw a little color in there. We pressure washed it, we cleaned it up, took an SOS pad up in there, and put some cleaned it up with some black spray paint. This is actually a matte black that we're using. Okay, and we're letting that dry, and then we'll start putting stuff back together here in a little bit. All right, guys, so our axles are in. We're waiting for those, so those are in. We got a little color up in here, got our spring in position, and what we're going to do now is we're going to put this axle back in, and it's the install is the opposite of removal. Okay, so if you watched early in the video how we took it out, we're going to put it back in the exact same way we took it out. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, so just a reminder, when you're ready to throw these springs back in, you're going to have to let this lower control arm down all the way to get that spring in there. And what you do is you take it and go up here with it first and put it in position. And remember where your notch goes. See that notch right there? That's where your spring is going to seat at. It's right there. There you go. See? So right there like that. Okay? And then you can jack it up with a little pressure on it and throw your axle in. Okay? All right, cool. All right, guys, so I want to point this out to you. This is the original parts that mount your strut to the top of the strut tower on the Suzuki Sidekick Geo Tracker. Okay, you'll notice it has a little notch on it. It's not exactly a circle there. You can see it's not. It's like a 3/4 moon. It's what it is. So what you're gonna have to do is you have to drill that out so that that can slide over the top of this new strut. See it right there? Okay, that's what we're going to have to do. Okay, so just pointing that out. So we're going to drill this out to make it big enough to go over, and we'll be able to use this. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, so if you're using the aftermarket struts that we use, this is a 15/16 bolt or nut right here, and the fitting that the wrench that you're going to need to hold this tight is a 10 mm. Okay, and this is how it mounts to our strut tower, is through this right here. Okay, so we got that all set up, and we're going to throw it in there. Okay, cool. Okay, one of the things I wanted to mention to you, because I really didn't film this being installed on this side, but I actually ran into trouble getting this to slide in, and normally it slides in. But the deal is at the end of the shaft is a little keeper ring that goes into a groove, and that groove snaps into another groove inside of your differential here, and that keeps it from sliding back out. Well, that thing was expanded so much that I was just hitting I was hitting gears. It wouldn't go in any farther than, you know, that little eighth of an inch at the end of the shaft, and that's it. So I had to take that little retention spring off of there and bend it a little bit to modify it to get it to go in. And then it did go in, and it clicked in place. And then I tugged on it, and it's not coming out. It didn't have to be pried back out again. I'm just pointing that out, that if you buy a set of axles or these CV axle shafts, and you have trouble putting the right side in, that's probably what it is. It's you know, I'm in there looking inside. What's going on with this differential? It worked fine when I pulled it into the driveway. What happened to it? And all it was that little retainer ring that goes on the end. Okay, it's like a little clip ring. Okay, you'll see it. All right. I might actually pull one of the old struts out and show you what I'm talking about, just for clarification. Okay, cool. There we go. Get these tires all cleaned up. Get them ready to go back on. Scrubbing them down, a little soap and a scrub brush, and cleaning them up. They've been sitting for a while. They got a little buildup on them. Anyway, get them ready to go. All right, cool. All right, guys. So this is what it looks like right here. Okay. Now everything's in place, but everything still needs to be tightened up a little bit. And the reason for that, you can see right here, these struts are these aftermarket struts. They're massive, and there's going to have to be some camber corrections made to this. So what we're going to do next is we're going to throw the wheels and tires back on it, and see what kind of lift that we got out of it, and we're going to look at the toe end to see what's the best way to address the camber or the toe end, because with these heavy four-door coils on here and these great big GM struts on here, we've created a serious camber issue. So I'm going to put it on the ground with everything kind of loose so I can see what I have to play with. Okay? I just want to give you a look at that before I start putting wheels and tires on. Okay? All right, cool. All right, guys. So that's what it looks like right there with the lift on it. Okay? So put the tires back on. Now remember, the struts are just sitting in there. They've got bolts through them, but they're not adjusted for camber or anything like that. I've got to play with that. That'd be another video when we do the camber on it. But I wanted you to be able to see what the stance looks like once we get all these four-door coils in here and all the extended travel shocks in the back and struts in the front. Okay? And that's what it looks like. And that's what we're going to go with. Okay? All right, guys. Cool. All right, guys. I thought we'd do a quick walk around here just to end this video. So you can see everything that we've done to it and what the stance looks like. Okay, because this is what 6 inches of lift looks like right here. Okay, this is the extended Gabriel shocks in the back, four-door coils with a 3-inch body lift. See it there? Okay, up front you've got four-door coils. You have a GM strut right there, big old heavy duty, and again, there's your 3-inch body lift. Okay, and that's kind of what it looks like right there. Now I've got some more tweaking to do on this. I still got to play with the camber, but everything's loose right now, but it's setting up pretty nice. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So I thought we'd just get just a little bit of video on it. Okay, so we can close out this this episode. Okay, all right, guys, there you go. So that's for Suzuki. That's up there. That's pretty nice. Okay, all right, guys.